Revenge films.
My name is Emily Sanders. My husband Thomas and I tried a knot 2 years ago, and we've been happily married ever since. Thomas worries about absolutely everything, but despite how nervous he could get, he's a hard worker, and he's been very successful in his job. We're a happy couple, and you'd think that we were still newlyweds if you saw how well we got along. We were thinking about it was time to start a family and have been trying to have a baby. But all of a sudden... What? An affair? My parents called me out to their house and suddenly accused me of having an affair. I was speechless, but not out of guilt. Yet they concluded that their doubts were correct and continued talking as though I was really cheating on my husband.
So it was true?
My dad's harsh words echoed throughout the living room, and my mom only looked at me and sighed, as though she was sad that I was capable of something that unforgivable. But I really haven't had an affair. I would never cheat on Thomas. Why can't you believe me? Ever since I was a child, my parents have always jumped to conclusions and blamed me for things that happened, even though I'd never done anything what they had doubted me for. Because of that, I had developed a habit of panicking and becoming unable to argue back when someone had accused me of something. There were a few occasions on which ornaments, jewelry, and money vanished into thin air when I was little, and when I made my first boyfriend, he broke up with me for some unknown reason. Those were just some of the events that led to me to lose more and more confidence in myself, because I was usually blamed for everything. Every time an issue like this came up, I would always get pointed at, and I would get hurt. I could never stand up for myself, and it didn't take long before the fear of being doubted took over and made me mentally weak.
We've got information from someone we can trust, Emily. We know that you've been meeting with another man behind Thomas's back. You're having an affair, and there's no point hiding it.
I had no money of ever meeting with someone, let alone having an affair with them. And now I was a housewife. I didn't leave the house as much as I used to.
Thomas is a good man and a good husband. He works hard to bring home money. He worries a little too much, but he's still a waste on a woman like you. You don't deserve him. But you won't find anyone else that's willing to marry someone like you, so we shouldn't tell him. How about we keep this a secret between us, right, honey?
You're right, dear. If Thomas finds out that she's been cheating on him, he might even demand a divorce, and we'll never get rid of her. We don't want that. Divorce? Why would Thomas want a divorce? We've been enjoying our new life together as a married couple this past 2 years. We were even trying to have a baby. Despite finding out that I was infertile, we were supporting each other and researching IVF treatment as a way to work through it together. We were about to start a family together, so why would we get divorced? Why is this happening to me? Why are they talking about the possibility of me getting divorced? In the end, I was too shocked and anxious to say anything to my parents. And they had already decided that the conversation was over. I didn't have the courage to ask them any more about what they had heard or why they thought I was having an affair. He said that he has information from someone he could trust, but who could that be? Who could possibly accuse me of having an affair? I couldn't help but go over the conversation I had with my parents over and over on the train ride home in order to get some clue of what they're accusing me of. But knowing my dad, he would probably come out with evidence if he had anything and would show it off just to prove that he was right, but he didn't. That must mean that he doesn't actually have any proof, any pictures or videos to confirm his claims. Then I don't have to worry about any of this getting out of hand. But it was a matter of course that they didn't have any evidence because I really hadn't been having an affair. But if they were insisting that I had been cheating on Thomas, then they must have something. Otherwise, I can't understand why would they believe hearsay. It doesn't make any sense. And why would the person that told them make something up like that? I don't understand their motives for lying. When I arrived back home, the house was still empty. Thomas was probably stuck doing overtime at work. I felt lonely not having anyone to share my worries with and decided to call my little sister so I could hear someone's voice. Hey, Chloe, are you free to talk right now?
Yeah, sure. What's up?
Well, the truth is, Mom and Dad called me over today, and we had a bit of a misunderstanding again. It's kind of bothering me. I've always been pretty unlucky getting blamed for things I had never done. Whatever valuable items had disappeared in our house, I was always told off for taking them. And my middle school boyfriend dumped me without even telling me why he wanted to break up.
Again? What happened this time? What did they say to you?
I wasn't sure whether I should tell Chloe the details of what my parents had said to me, but in the end, I decided to talk to her about it. I really wanted to ask my husband for advice on what I should do, and warn him that my parents doubted my fidelity. But after seeing that he wasn't home, I realized that it wasn't a good idea to tell him when he was so busy with work, and telling him would only make him worry needlessly. Well, this is really hard to say, but Mom and Dad think I'm having an affair. They won't believe me even when I say that I haven't met other guys.
my sister burst into laughter. They're so stupid. I can't believe they'd actually think something like that. They've always been like that. They don't know either of us properly, do they? It's hilarious that they think that you are capable of having an affair. I mean, we all lived together for almost 20 years. You'd think they'd know. My little sister was absolutely right. Our dad is really strict and righteous, but he never listens to what other people say. And our mom never disobeys our dad and always tries to please him.
There's no way you'd have an affair. Don't worry, Emily. I believe you. No matter what mom and dad say, I always will be by your side, so you can count on me.
Chloe, thank you! I couldn't help but tear up a little at Chloe's kind words.
But are you sure you haven't gone to any cafes or any restaurants? With some guy? Maybe that's why.
Now that I think about it calmly, there was something that came to mind. I had been to a cafe with a certain man in the past. I completely forgot! About a month ago, I bumped into my manager from the place I was working at before I married Thomas. We had a lot to catch up on, like me marrying Thomas and his wife giving birth. So he offered to buy me a coffee so we could talk. But it's not like we went anywhere that had any hotels nearby. We just talked. I don't know how they got any idea I was cheating.
What's the name of this guy you met?
Huh? His name? Why do you want to know that? You don't actually think...
Yeah, I mean, it's possible that that's the person mom and dad think you're having an affair with. You've got to do something about it.
What? Really? You think so? But I only met him once, and we don't even message each other that much. There's nothing for me to be ashamed of.
But there's no one else that comes to mind, right? Then it must be that guy. You should meet him again and tell him what happened, and explain that you can't talk to him anymore if you don't want mom and dad breathing down your neck. If he's the manager at your previous workplace, then it would be rude just to message him that you can't see him and not tell him to his face.
Yeah, I guess so. I'll try to see if he's free to meet this weekend so I can explain. After letting everything off my chest, I felt a lot better. But I didn't realize that things were just gonna get a lot worse. I met my former manager on the weekend, and just a few days later, I was called to my parents' house yet again and was ordered to bring Thomas. It seems that Chloe and her husband were also called too, but my husband couldn't make it because of work.
Emily! What the hell do you think you're doing? You swore to us that you would never cheat on your husband ever again! How could you embarrass us like this? We didn't tell Thomas because we believed you!
What? Wait, please listen to what I have to say! But my voice was too weak. I didn't have the strength to argue back. My parents have always doubted me, and have never listened to my side of the story. It was too difficult for me to talk back to them, even though I was desperate to clear up the misunderstanding. For some reason, my parents never listened to me, and I doubt that they'll ever change their prejudices of me. Furthermore, this time they announced,
"Don't you dare try and tell me that we're wrong! We have clear, undeniable proof that you've been cheating! Are you still going to deny what you've done?"
My dad slammed several photos onto the dining room table. I looked down at the proof that he bought, and he saw myself in the photograph sitting at a table with a former manager looking like we were having a fun chat. They were photographs from when I had told him that I couldn't talk to him anymore because my parents thought that we were having an affair. I didn't know what my husband was thinking. His expression hadn't changed since my dad had started talking, and I had no idea what he thought of this accusation.
Seriously? Emily, you really got me. I actually believed you, but look at that. It's evidence. You've always been a really shy woman ever since school. I still remember when you got dumped in 9th grade. Wait, wasn't that because that rumor about you kissing that boy in the other class? I remember being really surprised that you were so cheap. Oh yeah, that stuff was always going missing in the house too. That was you too, wasn't it?
What? She was doing that sort of thing in middle school too? Unforgivable!
My dad jumped at the words that came out of my sister's mouth, and my mom just followed my dad's lead. Please, it's not true! You have to listen to me. I haven't done any of that. I was finally able to argue back to their accusations, but nobody was listening. My voice was too small and thin for them to listen. Even if they listened, they weren't interested in what I had to say, except for one.
She's saying she hasn't done any of that.
For a second, I didn't know who spoke up.
What? Are you going to believe her, Thomas?
My dad stared at Thomas in awe and waited for his response.
Of course. If anything, why would you believe a photograph like this? They aren't doing anything wrong. They're just eating and talking. I don't understand how you can believe hearsay over what your own daughter is saying. I seriously can't understand your reasoning, sir. But, you've been saying that you've got proof, but you haven't told us who took these photographs, or who's been saying that Emily's been cheating on me. I want to know who's been accusing my wife of having an affair. It's only fair that we know. But I can't tell you. If I say that, It might cause a rupture in our family. We won't be able to talk to each other the way we have up until now if I tell you who said that Emily did all those things. Are you thinking you can avoid a rupture if you keep on blaming Emily for things she hasn't done? If you don't make it clear who's responsible for accusing Emily, then you can't expect her to continue to treat you like family. So who is it? I want to know who's been hurting Emily by spreading all these lies about what she's done. I guess that means you don't believe the person that witnessed Emily having an affair. All right, then I'll tell you. Chloe, explain to Thomas what you saw last weekend. Then he'll understand.
What? Well, I just.
Chloe started sweating buckets. I had never seen her look so nervous before. She was always a calm and collected one, so it put me off guard to see her like that. But after hearing what she had to say, I finally understood. I was stupid to trust her. If I didn't have complete faith in her, I would have realized sooner just how weak her lies had been. I should have. And considering how self-righteous my dad was and how my mom would always keep quiet, they would have never mentioned that it was Chloe. It was thanks to Thomas speaking up and demanding that they tell us that I was finally able to open my eyes and see what was happening. I was even more shocked when Thomas began questioning all of the things my sister had seen when I was with my former manager, and about all the things that had happened when I was younger, and a lot of truths came to light. Chloe was the root cause of why so many items had gone missing, and she was the one that started a rumor about me in school. She had been behind everything, making me look bad by mentioning hints to her parents, suggesting that I was the one that had taken everything.
I'm really sorry. Please forgive me. I won't do it ever again. I'm really sorry. I couldn't help myself.
I'm sorry, Thomas. It looks like you were right. And Emily, I'm sorry for placing unwarranted blame on you. I should have been more reasonable. Please, forgive me for doubting you all this time. I should have believed you.
My parents and my little sister all begged me for forgiveness, and I finally felt as though all the misunderstandings had been cleared. I was relieved that everything was sorted out. In the car on the way home, I couldn't help but thank my husband over and over for defending me. Thank you so much, Tom. I'm so happy you believed in me.
Of course I believe you.
But I never imagined that Chloe was behind all of those accusations. I still can't believe that she tried to cover up her own affair by creating a fake scandal with my marriage. And I never realized that she was the one to start telling my parents that I was stealing from them. I didn't think she was capable of something like that.
I wish that you'd rely on me a lot more. I get that I worry a little too much sometimes, but I can't help it. And that doesn't mean that I can't deal with issues like this. I want to be the kind of guy that can help his wife when she needs it. I want you to feel like you can trust me. I'll do better to worry less.
Yes, I will. A few days later, I got a phone call from my little sister.
Emily, you've got to help me.
Hey, Chloe! Your parents told me that you've been having an affair! What the hell were you thinking?
I could hear her husband shouting at her on the other side of the phone call. Our parents had forgiven her for lying to them as long as she promised to never make the same mistakes again. But it seems that her husband was unable to forgive her that easily. I wasn't surprised.
Oh, please, it wasn't serious.
I could hear her making desperate excuses, and I spoke up so that she could hear what I had to say. What do you mean it wasn't serious? That's not a good enough reason for cheating on your husband, Chloe. You've got to apologize sincerely if you want him to forgive you. After seeing the way Thomas had stood up for me, I was finally able to make my own voice heard. But after that, my sister persistently begged me to help her deal with her husband.
Emily, please. Can you come with me to apologize to him? He won't listen to me.
I don't want to.
Please. I always listened to you and gave you advice when you asked for it. Why can't you pay me back just this once? I need your help.
You were the cause of my troubles to begin with. All you were doing was putting out a fire you started yourself. But when Chloe's husband appeared to take her back home before she caused any more trouble in my home, I decided that it wouldn't hurt to tell him that she really did love him, and that it was just a stupid mistake. You might think I was being too soft on her, but even so, she was my only sister, and she really has been trying ever since I found out the truth. I just wanted the best for her. A few days later, I heard Chloe's husband had told her off and had set rules for her when she wanted to go out, but he had, overall, forgiven her for her affair. He brought her back to see me, and they both apologized for causing me trouble, and for the other things that I hadn't even noticed that Chloe had said to me in the past few years to my parents. Things I hadn't even noticed. When she confessed about everything else she had done, I finally saw that she had changed a lot since the family talk we had with our parents' house. It made me feel a lot better that her husband was willing to stay with her too. She needed a responsible guy like him to keep her on the right track since she could be so impulsive. I was pretty upset with her when I found out that she had tried to confuse everyone and steer everyone's eyes away from her own affair by questioning my relationship with Thomas. But thanks to that, I was able to see a different, almost heroic side to Thomas that I had never seen before. And I felt it was worth a bumpy ride. There's always good and bad after all.
How was today's video? If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Stay tuned for more.